Hey, ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's that time once again. It's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild, Kevin Miles, and you are locked in. You are locked in. It is June 29th, 2024, 6 p.m. Central, and you're right here watching Mild's Culture Plate. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Not doing the whiskey toasts today. My sincerest apologies. I have some business up in the city to do tonight and tomorrow. And need to be sober for the drive. My apologies for the wet hair. I've also been scrambling to get the stories together. I'm about 99% done with that, but I wasn't quite done by showtime, but the show must go on. So here we are. We're locked in. We're ready to roll. Not doing the whiskey toast, but I will give you a shout out. You know what? I still got this dang comic behind me. I made an appearance on Cool Frog's channel last night. We were talking comics and wanted to kind of show that off to someone last night. I left it up there. Just a show note, I am reading the Nightwing Compendium. I'm about halfway through. I'll have a review of that at a later date. Not today. Not today. We got a lot of interesting news. We're going to be talking about the Supreme Court. We're going to be talking about other court cases. We're going to be talking about, some viral individuals. And, we're going to be talking about guns. So stay tuned. And if you're in that chat, please say hello. Let me know you're here. I'll give you a shout out. And I'll show your comment on screen. I have got insects in my dang office. I'll go out of town for a week. I come back and there's flies all over the damn house. We didn't leave any trash out. We didn't leave any food out. Nothing. But they just didn't like the insane heat and somehow found their way in. Okay, so what do we got going on here? Like I said, I wasn't 100% prepared, but we're going to do this anyway. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's start on a little bit of a light note here. I've got this going on. I saw this go viral earlier, and I want to know what your folks' thoughts are on this video, because I had some thoughts, and then those thoughts were quickly confirmed by another post that was about 5 posts down on Twitter. So I saw this video, and I found it rather thought-inducing, rather conversation-inducing, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. Check this thing out.
Install muzzle flame. Install the sight battery. Install the expanded cartridge. Pull the trigger to launch.
This is a water gun.
The muzzle will have a special effective flame. Double gun firing. Water power suppression.
This is a water gun, yo.
Install muzzle flame. Install the sight battery. Install the expanded cartridge. Pull the trigger to launch. When shooting.
Look at that thing. This is a water gun.
The muzzle will have a special effective flame. Double gun firing. Water power suppression.
No fucking thank you. And I'm going to show you why. Bring this down for a second, and then I'll show you why. Today, on the USA Today, we have this story. New York police shoot and kill 13-year-old boy in Utica, New York. Protests erupt at City Hall. Grieving mother. Shooting death of a 13-year-old member of the Karen community by an officer on Friday night. What started as rumblings turned into screams from all sides as Utica Mayor Michael Galime, through the help of an interpreter, spoke to the mother and family. Who's from the Karen community, which originates in Myanmar. Utica, a Rust Belt city in New York's Mohawk Valley, has become a home to refugees. Imagine that. Refugees, migrants, migrant community. Displaced from Myanmar amid military juntas and civil war. We called this press conference not just to explain and be completely transparent, but to offer our condolences to the family and the community for loss. Yesterday evening, while a stop like the one that occurred is routine, it became tragic in near moments. We understand and we're here to be completely transparent and explain everything about the incident to the community and the press moving forward. Police Chief Mark Williams said Utica police officers were conducting a pedestrian stop of two juveniles on a residential street. One of the juveniles fled from police. Williams said during that chase that ensued, the young man displayed, quote, what appeared to be a handgun. Okay, now I'm going to go back and show this video of these neat little water guns.
Install muzzle flame.
Do you trust your kids running around with this when police like this are on the scene? Do you think would you be playing with this thing when police could be driving down your street?
Pull the trigger to launch. When shooting, the muzzle will have a special effective flame. Double gun.
Fun times. Okay, let's get back to the USA Today here. All right. Oh, no. There we go. Williams said the officer discharged his firearm once and struck the teen during a ground struggle. The 13-year-old was taken to the hospital where he died from his wounds. It says, during the press conference, the moments those words were uttered by police, some of the people in attendance started screaming. Anger rose from the crowd with shouts of no and attempts by some to calm the crowd down. Officers then recovered a replica Glock 17 handgun with detachable magazine, but it was ultimately determined to be a pellet gun, Williams said. We will be releasing the names of the officers involved in the very near future. We ask for patience as the investigation continues. Yells of indignation came from the crowd as they learned the three officers involved in the incident had been placed on administrative leave during the investigation, as they do. One person commented out loud that the police were getting a paid vacation. Galime told the crowd he was dedicated to being as transparent as possible and that directly after the press conference, he would invite the family and representatives of the community to speak with city officials. So the mother was present and obviously upset. New York State Attorney will be investigating. Utica Police Department is conducting a joint parallel internal investigation with its Professional Standards Unit to determine whether staff followed policies and procedures. Over the next several days, police said they would publicly release more details about the incident and a comprehensive overview of the events. Police also plan to release the full body cam footage. After the press conference, Department spokesperson Lieutenant Michael Curley held a private press conference for the media. Our police department deals with investigations day in and day out. They don't end like this, Galime said. They do not end like this. The situation unfolded due to the events is very specific to this situation, and that is why we have only to speak to what we can release and when it's released, and we're not going to offer information we're not absolutely sure of. As it stands, Williams said the two juveniles were stopped as an investigation, but declined to answer questions about the subject of the investigation until it was concluded. When asked about lethal force being used, Williams explained at the time that there's no way to know that the gun was a pellet gun until officers got their hands on it. You don't bring a taser to a gunfight. When you do, or when you at the time perceive deadly physical force, you have to match it. Police department said it is aware of a video of the incident that is circulating on social media. Authorities said the video does not portray the incident in its entirety. The office and our police department will operate with utmost efficiency and transparency. Excuse me. Following the closure of the press conference, myself and the translator had a conversation with the mother and her surrounding friends and family. She's not just distraught, she's grieving in the way that was shown downstairs. And it's not only acceptable, it is expected. What we need to do from this side is make sure that moving forward we'll continue to be as objective as possible, and every single incident that involves an investigation is met with objectivity and letter of the law. So there you go, folks. Don't let your kids play with toy guns when cops are around. Tell your kids that if they do see a cop car coming, like, throw their fake gun away. All right, so we've had the Supreme Court really fucking active the last couple weeks. Really fucking active Supreme Court the last couple weeks. They've issued a lot of big time rulings, and this week was no different. We had some shocking things drop in the last few days. One news story about the Supreme Court, one interesting ruling. I'm not going to call it good. It's interesting ruling. Is Oregon, Grants Pass, Oregon, had banned homeless people camping in public spaces. And the Supreme Court upheld that. You know, there was this challenge that, well, how do you force someone to not sleep outside? Well, this is how. You just make it illegal and then you get rid of them. So I guess this was an audio something interview, something, I don't know. Oh, weekend edition. Okay. U.S. Supreme Court on Friday upheld a ban on homeless people. Gotta love NPR. This is a damn transcript of NPR's broadcast. Upheld a ban on homeless people making shelter in public spaces. It's the biggest ruling on homelessness in decades. It comes from one Oregon city's fight over camping regulations. Grant Pass. Supreme Court decided yesterday was whether the city had a right to enforce its public camping ban using tickets and fines when there's nowhere else for homeless people to sleep. Lawyers for the homeless argued that's cruel and unusual punishment prohibited by the Eighth Amendment, but on Friday, the court's majority disagreed. After 6 years of legal battles, Grants Pass mayor says she's pleased it's finally over. She said, I'm glad the decision's been made, and that we can, I guess, take in that decision and digest the information to make a plan about where to go from here. City hasn't been able to enforce its camping ordinances for the past 4 years because of a court injunction while the case has been ongoing. It's not clear to Mayor Bristol when that will be lifted. What the long-term homeless policies will look like in Grants Pass is also unclear. In 2021, Oregon passed its own law placing limits on how cities regulate homelessness, although limits are vague. So the city will now have to figure out what restrictions it can have while still following Oregon state law. Hey, we got Sangalan over 86 over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. Not doing the whiskey today because I got some errands to run, but still, big shout outs to you. Thank you for stopping by. Always good seeing you in the chat. Advocates for homeless residents in Grants Pass say Friday's decision won't help homeless people get what they need. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Which is housing. Again, thank you, Dr. Obvious. Dr. Bruce Murray, obviously Dr. Obvious, volunteers with the Mobile Integrative Navigation Team, a nonprofit that provides services to unsheltered people. It's a punch in the gut. We expected this, but I'm amazed at my own personal reaction. It's visceral and it's really painful. In the Rogue River in Grants Pass, about a dozen tents are clustered in the shade of Tussing Park. Darren Starnes lives in one of them. He's been in Grants Pass for 35 years, but just became homeless a year and a half ago. He says it's like living in a zoo because you're always on display. I hate it. I hate it. If we could go have some quiet little corner somewhere where we weren't bothered, it wouldn't be so bad, says Starnes. He obviously disagrees with the Supreme Court's decision. They don't care about the people of our country anymore. It's not about we, the people. It's about them, the corporations, and the ones with money, and that's what they care about. So, yeah. You got the Supreme Court upholding the ability to ban homelessness. You gotta fucking love it. I have my own thoughts on this. And I did see there was like a similar article written by the local Kansas City paper, and I live in rural Kansas, and most of my experience with homelessness is traveling up to the city, and I do get to see some of the homeless problem in Kansas City up close and personal. And there was a big controversy in Kansas City a few years ago during the peak of COVID, where we had a really fucking cold winter, and the homeless started just creating tent cities on the lawn of City Hall. And they had advocates that were demanding the mayor do something about it. And the mayor and the city council got together with city leaders. They paid to have these people shipped to local hotels. And within a week, they were demolishing the hotels. I have a heart. I sympathize and empathize with people who have nowhere to go and nothing else to do. The problem with this is, if you can't get on your feet after a month, 2 months, if people offer you help, but this kind of lifestyle, the freedom, quote unquote freedom of homelessness, is more important to you than kind of taking a back seat to the authority of someone else who might be trying to guide you through a career, then maybe you do need to exit the city and find more rural areas to hang out in. The idea that you could have people like this populate an entire park, or populate the lawn of a city hall, or take over a courtyard of a shopping district, because that's where people congregate. And where people congregate, we can beg and get money from them. Yeah, it's a strategy. But that's also why your government wants to make it illegal. Because it becomes harassment. It discourages growth in the hearts of city. And it discourages people from being able to access the parks, the government buildings, and the shopping districts that their taxes pay for. So yeah, while I have a lot of empathy for homeless folks, I do have to say, I support this. We got Billdozer74 over on Rumble. Good seeing you, buddy. Good seeing you. Nice having you around. Cheers and welcome. Saw you got that big shout out from We Are Change yesterday. Always good seeing you. All right. Moving on with further conversation about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has had this Chevron deference case hanging over its head. And ultimately, it was determined that it was kind of, not needed. Chevron deference is not needed. It is dead. I had an article up, but I can't find it now. Go figure. Bill Dozer says got a gross Clintina. Yes. Clint Russell. Big love out to Clint Russell. Can't wait to see his taint get tased. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I had an article up about the Chevron deference, but instead, let's jump forward to one other Supreme Court decision. This is going to be from Mother Jones Magazine. I try to go to the commie sources for some of these Supreme Court cases to show just what both sides think of this stuff, right? So let's go to Mother Jones magazine here. The Supreme Court January 6th decision was a win for progressive protesters too. The justices curtailed a tool that Donald Trump could have wielded against his political enemies, says Jeremy Schulman of Mother Jones magazine. On Friday, the Supreme Court upended the convictions of a group of January 6 defendants, ruling that the Justice Department had improperly prosecuted them under a statute that prohibits obstruction of an official proceeding. Now, remember that little phrase, because that's important to this whole thing. Justices found that the provision, which carries an extremely punitive sentence of up to 20 years of prison, applies to people who did things like alter or destroy documents or other evidence, but not to people who disrupt a session of Congress by storming the Capitol. As a result, a relatively small subset of people convicted for their role in the insurrection could be retried or resentenced and might spend less time in prison. Many liberals who were no doubt alarmed to learn that the conservative-dominated court had imposed new limits on January 6 prosecutions, but that's an understandable reaction, but misguided. What the justices did was curtail the ability of the DOJ, an agency that soon may be under the control of Donald Trump, to put disruptive protesters behind bars for up to 2 decades. So this is the important part here. The DOJ's novel interpretation of the statute would criminalize a broad swath of prosaic conduct, exposing activists and lobbyists alike to decades in prison, wrote Chief Justice John Roberts, for a majority that included 5 of the court's conservatives as well as liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Roberts noted during oral arguments the Biden administration had acknowledged that its legal theory might allow the government to use the law against peaceful protesters who had purposely disrupted an official proceeding. In an amicus briefing, a group of right-wing lawmakers made the rather ominous point that progressive protesters disrupt government events frequently. This is what we were arguing at the time. Biden administration, they noticed, hadn't used obstruction law to prosecute anti-Israel protesters who occupied Capitol buildings to advocate for Congress to back a ceasefire in Gaza, or demonstrators who interrupted Jim Jordan's House Judiciary Committee field hearing in a New York federal building. Nor, the lawmakers noted, had the Trump administration attempted to use the law against the scores of protesters for interfering with Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation hearings. These protests were in no way... come on, bro. No way comparable to January 6th. I'm just going to chew on that for a minute. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to kill it. But yes, this is important. It is important that the left realizes this. It is important that the Supreme Court gets it right, and that we can agree that the Supreme Court got it right. And that when we over-prosecute, when we make the First Amendment illegal, just like, you got to draw that fine line, right? You got to draw that fine line. Just like with the homeless thing, you got to draw a line somewhere. You're not making homelessness illegal. You're not just rounding up the homeless and throwing them in prison. You're saying we can ban you from certain areas and you need to move on. The same thing here. You're not saying just go in and disrupt everything. No, we're saying that this particular law meant to be triggered upon fraud, because this law was created in response to Enron manipulating documents in order to avoid, in order to mislead the investigation into Enron. And so this idea that you're going to use this law, this obstruction of an official proceeding, to go after people exercising their First Amendment, it's insane. All right, folks, let's talk election. let's get into this stuff. And I'll need to fish a couple of things out of my links here while we're doing it, because like I said, I wasn't 100% prepared when the show started, but we'll get into some of these. So I've got a couple links here from Fox News. We have the Trump campaign demanding an apology from Biden after the spreading of the cheap fake narrative. Wow. Okay, let's read it a little bit here. The Trump campaign is demanding an apology from the White House and President Biden's campaign for dismissing videos of Biden's public gaffes and miscues as cheap fakes and misinformation promoted by conservatives. Following repeated instances of Biden appearing to stand motionless during public events and being guided off stage by family or allies, or appearing confused by public events, the White House slammed such videos as quote unquote cheap fakes promoted by the Trump campaign and its allies. Cheap fakes, under the White House's definition, are understood as real videos that are cropped or edited in an allegedly deceptive manner. The Trump campaign fired back on Friday that following Biden's debate performance, everyone sees there's nothing fake about Biden's decline. It's only been a week since our fantastic team at Trump War Room and RNC Research were wrongfully accused of editing cheap fakes to make Biden look bad. The Democrats, of course, and their mouthpieces in the face fake news peddled this ridiculous lie. We actually had to spend time fighting journalists on this ridiculous narrative and telling them that Americans can believe their own eyes. Now everyone sees nothing is fake about Biden's decline. We're right in simply sharing the truth. We will take an apology now, Levitt added, tagging the Biden campaign in a handful of media outlets. When asked the Trump's campaign's call for an apology, the Biden campaign told Fox that Trump is a liar in addition to a pathetic loser. Sangline 86 says, remember the steel can Sharpies. That's how you draw the line. All right. All right. And so after the debate, I woke up the next day and I tweeted this. Hey, remember 3 days ago when Biden looking bad was called cheap fakes? So, I kind of called it. That this is something that should be looked at, right? But anyway, so after the debate, we've had all these calls for Biden to be replaced, right? And there's all these news outlets that seem to be hinting the Democrat leadership, right? There's rumors that the Obamas are involved, right? There's rumors that the Clintons are involved, that the Democrat establishment folks are rallying and making phone calls and talking about what to do next. How can we replace Joe Biden on the ballot before the November election? And there's rumors that James Carville, I heard, was coming up with a strategy when a strategy to quote unquote help Joe Biden when he's already gone on record before as saying that Biden should step down and let someone else take the Democrat nomination. This is hilarious, but you also have to be careful, folks, because I wouldn't put anything past them. Now, I did read, this is, again, me, I might have to do this on the fly. I'm going to try to bring something up. I saw a bunch of articles talking about the various state deadlines on finalizing Biden being on the ballot. And now I can't find that. Of course, I can't find it now. But yeah, I did see something saying that in oh, maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need to type battleground states. Yeah, here we go. No, no. Okay, let's look at this. This is Axios. This might have it in it. I'm just going to kind of skim it here. Yeah, Bulldozer. That's what I'm looking at. I thought he was already past the cutoff for ballots. From what I understand, that the important states, the swing states, right, the most important ones. From what I understand, Wisconsin, it would have been yesterday. And then there were two more states that he had like a week left where they could replace him, but Wisconsin was yesterday. Da, da, da. Yeah, there's nothing on here. Okay. Yeah, screw this Axios article. Sorry, I was trying to find it. But yeah, I did read that there were like 4 swing states where they still could replace him. But then the question becomes, replace him with who? Who are they going to replace him with? Well, there's a couple of really obvious choices, right? But are they really all that obvious? Are they really all that obvious? I mean, look at this. Look at this. I just shared this to my Twitter a little bit ago.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be.
This video goes on for 4 minutes, yo.
By what has been. What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can
Bulldozer's got the link.
Unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Who we can be unburdened by who we have been. What can be unburdened by what has been. Where we can be unburdened by where we have been and unburdened by where we are right now. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been. What could be unburdened by what had been. What can be unburdened by what has 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 been. Unburdened by what has been, believing in what can be.
Okay, so real quick, I'll play a minute and a half of that, and yeah, you get the idea. Bulldozer. So yeah, the link there. Yeah, those are filing deadlines, and while that's definitely important in an election, a lot of states do have a mechanism where a party can do an emergency change in their candidate. For example, there just a couple of years ago, there was a state where the incumbent had passed away while running for re-election, and they were able to replace a candidate. I'm trying to remember what race that was, and yeah, so while you have filing deadlines, these are emergency measures, and I couldn't find it in that link. For emergency deadlines, filing deadlines are important, but that back door, being able to submit a new candidate after the filing deadline because of an emergency situation. I can't find a lot of information about that, which is anyway. Sangling 86 says she would have been better off with "I ain't in no ways tarred." Okay. So there's one possibility for the Democrat candidate for president of the United States. I think that's the obvious selection, right? But the rumors are that no, She's not. That nobody's legitimately considering her, and that she's actually really upset behind the scenes. One thing I wasn't going to play here on the show today, she did give an interview with Anderson Cooper shortly after the horrendous debate performance by Joe Biden, reassuring Americans that he's very fit to run for president. Would not answer the question on whether or not the man we saw on stage was the man who she's claiming she works with every day, that is very fit and sharp and very capable of running the country. She would not answer the question. So, yeah, I would say they're going to continue to trot her out to downplay how important that debate was for Donald Trump. And they're going to continue to pump well, Trump lied the whole time. Yeah, well, because your fact checkers were doing their fact checker thing and ignoring the 80% of substance in a Trump comment and focusing on one word that could be interpreted multiple ways and saying, aha. Yeah, that's what fact checkers on the internet do. And that's what the fact checkers were doing with the Trump aspect of the debate. Now, one thing I will say, the fact checkers did hold Joe Biden to task for his lies as well, though. So I do have to give them credit for that. One other name that's being... Oh, hey, we got Billdozer with another link. We might have to take a peek at that here in just a second. But first, I want to play this next video because we have one other potential candidate. Now, you hear a lot of names of governors being bandied about. I hear a lot of people talking about maybe Hakeem Jeffries. Now, remember, folks, this is why I was trying to cover as many of the third-party candidates. This is why I was trying to cover the Republican primary. Because to this day, we still don't know that these are the two men that are going to be running for president in November. Lord, I hope they don't try some shenanigans to take Trump off the ballot, but I think that's still something that might be up in the air. I'm not holding my breath until, long after the convention. And the fact that they're choosing to do this with Biden now, there's been these rumors that, oh yeah, June 20th or whatever. Well, now it's like the June 30th almost. There were all these rumors that they were going to replace Biden in June. And now, we have all these names being thrown around. Hakeem Jeffries, Michelle Obama. But one of the names that keep coming to the forefront, and then every time his name does, he denies it. He says, no, it's Joe Biden's time. It'll be my time in the future. Let Joe and Kamala have it. I don't want it. And then every time he says it, well, then they just say his name again, and that's California Governor Gavin Newsom, who made an interesting appearance on News Nation yesterday. And it's kind of interesting because News Nation, I think, might have pulled a bait and switch and had good old Adam Carolla interview him. Now, I don't know how much you folks know or follow Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla did TV. He did MTV's Loveline. He did the Loveline radio show in the LA area. He also did the Man Show on Comedy Central. But yeah, what he's mostly known for is, doing radio shows in the LA area. And then he was one of the first big podcasters to move from radio to internet, download audio, long form programming. And anybody who's followed Adam Carolla for more than, a month or so, they know that he's got a lot of opinions about the way Los Angeles and California has been run into the ground by its politicians over the last several decades. And so the idea that News Nation Hey, we got Bill Dozer with a zigzag, zigzag. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah. The idea that News Nation would throw good old Adam Carolla at Gavin Newsom. Well, you got to just watch the hilarity. It's awesome.
Adam Carolla here. Governor, why did you shut the beaches in California during COVID?
Yeah, I think we all were working on information at the time. We had no basis of deeply understanding the virus. I think they
So
did
you
the
didn't
same
know
thing.
anything. So why'd you shut the
I guess
beaches?
this was
Florida.
Thursday.
If you didn't know anything, why'd you shut the beaches?
Well, we didn't know. Yeah, because people were concerned early in the pandemic. Information was coming out as it relates to how it was transferred, the disease. And people were cautious, trying to keep people alive. And I should say this,
So
Adam,
you didn't
should
let
know
them
this
go in
on
the
health, wealth, and
sunshine and get
education.
vitamin
California
D and
outperformed.
exercise. So you shut the beaches. Okay. And you arrested a guy who was paddleboarding in the bay.
On health, wealth, and
yeah, any
it's always
science
good to
behind
see
that?
Adam. And
Any science
we're
at
all
all behind
geniuses
shutting
in
outdoor
hindsight.
dining? Why'd you shut down outdoor dining?
We're all geniuses in hindsight. Why did you shut down the outdoor dining?
Go ahead, go. Science.
It's good to see Adam.
Based on science,
look,
you didn't
at the end of the day, the debate tonight.
It's not a debate. You shut
I'm
down
looking
outdoor
forward to the
dining.
debate.
You canceled
Compare and
businesses.
contrast
Had
tonight.
nothing to do with science.
Oh, Adam
All right, let
is
him finish.
salty.
All right, go ahead.
All this happened in the.
Okay, so there you have it. There you have it. That is one of your front runners for the potential replacement of Joe Biden. You just saw one of the other front runners for the replacement of Joe Biden. Like I said, I've heard Hakeem Jeffries' name bandied about, Michelle Obama, Michigan Governor Whitmer, heard her name bandied about. But yeah, it's important to know that, yeah, oh my God, I just closed the very next thing I was going to talk about. Here we go. So here's from Fox News. We have the Heritage Foundation working on election legal challenges just in case Biden is pulled from the nomination. Here we go. At least 3 swing states, Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin, could restrict Biden's removal from the ballot. And of course, I had it in a... Damn it. Hang on, I got to bring it up on archive because it's behind the paywall. It was showing it to me before, and now it's behind the paywall. Imagine that. Okay, let's try this. Boop, 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 boop. Load. Uh-oh, am I lagging? There we go. Okay, so there we go. Heritage Foundation working. Okay, so major conservative activist group is preparing for legal battles in case the Democrat Party decides to pull Joe Biden out of the running before or after he becomes the nominee. Heritage Foundation, blah, blah, blah. We're monitoring calls from across the country for Joe Biden to step aside either now or before the election and have concluded that the process for substitution and withdrawal is pretty complicated. We will remain vigilant that appropriate election integrity procedures are followed. Heritage already identified multiple states in which a switch away from Biden before or after the nomination could mean serious trouble for the Democrat Party. In a separate statement, the Oversight Project warned if the Biden family decides that President Biden will not run for re-election, wow. Did you see the language there? If the Biden family decides. There's so built into that is the insinuation that the family would force him to do it. That he's not capable of making his own decisions. There is potential for pre-election litigation in some states that would make the process difficult and perhaps unsuccessful. Given the expected intensity of election integrity concerns in this election cycle, policymakers and the public should be educated and aware of the contentious path ahead. Heritage points out that many states, including swing states such as Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin, might not allow a replacement on the ballot. Wisconsin does not allow a candidate's name to be withdrawn from the ballot except due to death. Nevada was the one I was thinking of. Nevada allows changes of its ballot up until 5 p.m. on the 4th Friday of June. That was yesterday. It also allows special consideration for if nominees die or determined to be mentally unable to proceed. So then you have that. Jordan would allow Biden to withdraw up to 60 days before the election. If Biden withdraws afterward, his name would remain on the ballot, but votes for him would be discarded. So not going to Gavin Newsom, not going to Michelle Obama, not going to Hakeem Jeffries. Other states have restriction on timing and the reason for withdrawal from ballots, while others have no procedures on the books, making the process of switching Biden out even more perilous legal minefield. Okay, now I'm going to take a peek. Now, that article there had most of the information I was actually looking for. I am going to take a peek now at the link that Bill Dozer sent a little bit ago in the chat from Reuters. Bring this window over to this window, over to this monitor. Okay. There is a process for doing so, but it would be messy. What option do the Democrats have? The Democrat Party has no real plan B for Biden. He ran virtually unopposed. He will not be nominated officially until later this summer, so there's still time to make a change in a handful of scenarios to enact one. Biden could decide himself to step aside before he is nominated, could be challenged by others who try to win over the delegates he's accrued, or he could withdraw after the Democrat convention in Chicago, leaving the National Committee to elect someone to run against Trump in his place. So again, top potential replacements: Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, spoke passionately in his defense. Boom. Governor Newsom, Governor Whitmer, Kentucky Governor Andy Bashar, Illinois Governor Pritzker. What happens if he steps down after the convention? The 435 members of the Democratic National Committee would choose a new candidate. Okay, but they wouldn't be on the ballot in many states. And here we go. How would those votes be counted? The DNC would likely hold its meeting in Washington, and the votes would be counted there. Ballots would be coded, signed, and collected by hand. If a vote were to happen very close to Election Day on November 5th, when it was not possible to meet in person, then it would likely be virtual. So again, this article doesn't have the state deadlines or state regulations for replacement. That article, the Fox article about the Heritage Foundation, did have some information. Okay, so let's burn through a couple of less important things here. What did I do with that other article? Oh my God. Oh well, I guess I'll just skip. Here we go. Former Uvalde School District Police Chief charged with child endangerment after the shooting that killed 21. So you may remember the school shooting in Uvalde where the cops didn't really respond. They just kind of stood around and just, let the kids get killed. Well, the police chief, Pete Arredondo, was taken into custody on Thursday, officially been indicted, charged with child endangerment. So, yeah, the parents are saying, that's not going to bring our kid back. It's a small win, but it's not justice. Let's see. In other news, we have the Steve Bannon trial. We have Judge Merchan, who's made a lot of Trump news recently, suddenly taken off of Steve Bannon's case. Judge Merchan, who oversaw Donald Trump's hush money trial, is no longer expected to preside over Bannon's upcoming fraud trial in New York because of a scheduling conflict. Eileen Bybin, an administrative judge for New York County Supreme Court criminal terms, sent an email to parties informing them that Merchan could no longer oversee the trial, which is due to commence on September 23rd. The Honorable Merchan, acting Supreme Court Justice, who is assigned to this matter, is engaged to preside over a 6-defendant trial that is scheduled to commence on September 16th and expected to last at least 3 months, Bybin wrote. Merchan, who's presided over the case since September, also oversaw Trump's criminal trial in May, which resulted in a jury convicting the former president on 34 counts of falsifying business records. Trump's trial overlapped with the original date for Bannon's trial, causing it to be delayed until September. Biden transferred Bannon's case to Judge April Neubauer, saying that doing so would best serve the needs of the court. Bannon, a Trump ally, is scheduled to appear before Neubauer on July 23rd, so keep your eye out for that. All right, so there we have it. We have that. Okay, Sanglin A6 says, if Trump is so easy to beat, they should run a random map. Yeah. Yeah, Sangle says they were worried it would be killed with Trump's case. Yeah, yep. All right. Okay, so now we'll get into some more lighthearted viral stuff. This next one from the New York Post. You may remember this chick went viral a couple weeks back, for showing her titties at a hockey game, and then she was bombarded with offers from pornography studios to come do pornography. Yeah, well, it looks like she chose one. She has signed with Playboy. An Edmonton Oilers fan who flashed her boobs during the team's playoff run appears to be cashing in. The woman, whose name is Kate, has signed with Playboy, the outlet announced Friday. Meet Kate, the Oilers' good luck charm, Playboy wrote in the announcement post. And then here we go. Catch Kate over at the Playboy Club. And there she goes. She got her nips going. Kate, according to the Daily Mail, had turned down offers from porn sites, earned internet fame after flashing her breasts in the stands during the Oilers' Game 5 win over the Dallas Stars. She lifted her jersey. There we go. There's the blurred photo. Playboy's post included photos of Kate in a white see-through crop top, showing off her boobs that grabbed the social media attention, as well as one of her tying one of her skates and sitting in a locker room with an Oilers sweater on. So there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all it takes for some people to become famous, right? For some people to make a ton of money. Just whip out the girls, right? That's all you got to do. All right. So let's go to this viral video here. This gentleman shared with us his receipt from a Walmart app. Let's see what he found out.
I feel like I'm gonna be sick. I just looked through my Walmart history, and I found this Walmart order from 2 years ago for the whole month worth of groceries. 45 items cost $126.
$126.
A whole month of groceries just
for a whole month of groceries.
But I did notice this reorder all button, and I wanted to see how much it would
Looked like he had some beef jerky.
Now, this order of 45 items for 1 month would have cost $414. That is 4 times more. How the fuck? How? Okay,
now wait a minute. I got to go back a hair here. Well, that's a big thing of wheat thins, but I doubt it's $15. Okay, so I think I can explain this.
How the fuck? How? What?
So I know exactly what's happening here. This is third party. This isn't Walmart. This is third party. What you're seeing in that total is discontinued items. So this went viral, and a lot of people are talking about this. Like, oh my God, the inflation. No, this is discontinued items. He's had some items in his cart that have since been discontinued, but there are third-party sellers on Walmart's website who are still offering those items. And so he's able to place them in the cart and see a total. But he's not getting those items from Walmart. He's not getting them at a retail price. He's getting them at a resale price. That's what's happening. The idea that a box of wheat thins is $15. Now, granted, there may be a giant box of wheat thins out there that's $15, but that seems a little extreme to me. And that's what tends to happen. You have an item get discontinued. For example, I had to buy like a 12 pack of my deodorant because it had been discontinued. And yeah, I paid like price gouging prices for it. But I'm like, man, I don't really want to have to go shopping for new deodorant and trying to sniff under the cap of like 15 new deodorants to figure out what they smell like. Sangon says, well, that's a thing now. Yeah. So, but this is a grift. This is a grift. People using obviously skewed pricing to create outrage about inflation. Now, granted, inflation is a horrible thing right now. Let's see. We had another thing. Oh, I should have played that during the talk about Joe Biden shit. It's just basically more rumors and news reports that the Democrats were scrambling. But I beat that to death. I beat that topic to death, so we won't need to play that. Just people claiming that Democrats are making phone calls. I did want to discuss this a little bit because I saw some online commentary about this. I saw a lot of people debating this next article from multiple perspectives, and they each kind of had good points. And I figured it'd be interesting to talk about. So let's bring this up. Let's see. ABC 7 New York. An 8-year-old dies after mom allegedly left her in a car during high heat to go to work. North Carolina mother has been arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter after she allegedly left her 8-year-old daughter in a hot car while at work and the girl died, police said. Officers responded Wednesday evening to reports of a child in critical condition inside of a vehicle in Charlotte, according to the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department. The child was transported to a hospital where she was pronounced dead, according to the arrest warrant affidavit. Her mother, 36-year-old Ashley Stallings, allegedly left her daughter in the vehicle in hot weather conditions, and the 8-year-old suffered a medical emergency. The police said in a press release, temperatures in Charlotte on Wednesday reached the upper 90s. Stallings allegedly told police that she left her daughter in a hot car while she was at work running with the air on, but believed that the victim turned the car off because she was cold, the arrest warrant affidavit said. When the mother returned to her vehicle about an hour and a half after last hearing from the girl via text, she found her daughter unresponsive on the backseat floorboard, taking shallow breaths and foaming at the mouth, according to the affidavit. Stallings used a hammer to break open the window and then attempted to drive to a local hospital before stopping at a business for help, according to the affidavit. She admitted she knew the temperature was 94 outside and that she should not have left the victim in the car alone. Medical staff at the hospital told police the girl suffered from brain herniation due to hypothermia. Stallings was arrested Thursday and charged with involuntary manslaughter and child abuse by a willful act causing serious injury, court records show. She was appointed a public defender during an initial court appearance on Thursday. Online court records do not list attorney information. She's been held at the Mecklenburg County Detention Center on a $250,000 bond. Her next court date's been scheduled for July 16th. Amazon confirmed to ABC Charlotte affiliate WSOC that Stallings worked at an Amazon facility and said it is working closely with the police as they investigate. This is an incredibly tragic incident, Amazon said in a statement to WSOC. During this difficult time, we're supporting our employees and have made counseling resources available. The incident marked at least the 5th hot car death so far this year, according to the nonprofit Kids in Car Safety. It takes very little time for a car to get too hot for children. A car can heat to 124 degrees in only 30 minutes when it's 90 outside, according to the National Weather Service. Sangland 86 brings up a good point here. And this is why I wanted to talk about this. Let me go ahead and bring this down. This is why I wanted to talk about this. There's a lot of things that don't add up. But the internet's doing what the internet will do. The internet is blaming Amazon for this. There are a lot of people on Twitter who are blaming Amazon for this. And they're blaming Donald Trump and Joe Biden for this. Saying, You know, we have two presidential candidates that can't answer a question about child care and child care costs. And here we have a mom who's got to go to work. And what she do? She leaves her kid in the car. If you can leave your kid in the car, why can't you leave your kid at home? And yes, why didn't the kid get out of the car? She's 8 years old. If she knew how to turn the key to turn the car off, she knew how to open the door to the car. Now, granted, she may have been too afraid to get out of the car. She may have seen people walking by. Her mom might have told her, look, if somebody sees you out here, I might get in trouble. Which makes this even worse, right? There's a reason the kid didn't get out. And it's because the mom probably told her, look, you get out, we're not going to the Taylor Swift concert or something like that. Not that they obviously couldn't afford to go to a Taylor Swift concert. I'm just saying. You're not getting the Taylor Swift download or whatever. There's a reason the girl didn't get out of the car. And all this blame shifting to Donald Trump, to Amazon, to Joe Biden, to corporations not paying for their employees' child care. Look, I'm all for trying to help out with child care costs. Child care is an insane thing. You know, costs are insane, but you have to pay them because, you know, what are you going to just cheap out on the person keeping your children safe? Well, in this person's instance, cheaping out probably would have been better than trusting her with her own mother. But no. I definitely hope this person gets the book thrown at her. Ashley Stallings, 36 years old, North Carolina. I hope she gets the book thrown at her. Because it's not Amazon's responsibility. Amazon didn't get pregnant. You did. Okay, now, let's see. Let's do Love Does Admonish here. And I don't have one queued up this week. So let's go find one. Why don't we? L. Love, don't judge. There we go. My subscriptions. Click videos. Scroll down to where we kind of the time range in which we've previously left off. There we go. I'm a bearded city and my boyfriend loves
it. We are judged because this is Coral. She fell in love with Elias. We are judged because he's trans and I have a beard. Coral has struggled with her facial hair from a young age. I first started getting facial hair when I was 9 years old.
Oh my god. Okay, so you have a trans who's not the bearded lady and a non-trans who is a bearded lady. All right, this ought to be good.
Monster.
Made me
when
feel
the
like a
couple
monster.
go out in public, they are often met with negative reactions, which has made them retreat from the outside world.
We do tend to stay inside more.
But unfortunately, the prejudice follows them online too.
Well, there you go.
What are you? This is disgusting. Oh my god, this is what the devil...
Okay, so can we not acknowledge that the internet is just outside, but just more of it? Now, you're inside, right? You're on your computer, you're on your phone, you're inside. But when you're communicating with people outside your home, you're better off just going outside. Just go outside. Just deal with it. Deal with the hate.
Looks like...
The devil looks like.
We met on a
Wait, they're around here?
OkCupid.
I was getting ready to delete it, and I went on to go check my messages one last time, and I saw that Elias had messaged me.
So I have the perfect timing.
We've been together for a little over 4 years now. When I met Elias, I was still shaving every day. I was working in a corporate office, so I was the business lady. And at that time, I felt like I couldn't be a business.
Look, for a chubby girl, she's not fugly. Like, you could have She's just keep shaving.
Lady with a beard. I think I was dabbling a little bit 2 years into our relationship. I would start going like a couple days without shaving, but it was really when we became homeless.
Okay. Well, okay. So the homeless thing won, but then there's also the, oh, I got comfortable and let myself go. Many such cases, right, ladies?
I was trying to dry shave in the car in the morning before we went into Walmart to go to the bathroom. Once we got back to Washington and moved in with my family, I was so tired of shaving it and I just stopped. I actually first started getting facial hair when I was 9 years old.
I'm kind of jealous. Mine comes out scraggly.
By the time I was 12,
look, she's using beard oil.
A full-blown beard. Honestly, it made me feel like a monster. I really thought that I was cursed for the longest time.
So wait a minute. So you're in love with someone that's gender bendy and trans, but you're ashamed to look like a dude. The irony here just.
I get a lot of comments about Shrek, which is kind of
like your girlfriend is trying to be a boy. And this is great. Like there's probably so much envy between these two women.
Because I tell people that Fiona was my first representation. Honestly, it was the first woman I ever saw in media shaving her face. I was diagnosed with PCOS when I turned 16. PCOS is a condition that causes cysts on your ovaries, excessive hair growth,
hormonal imbalance,
causes insulin issues. It was very difficult growing up with PCOS. A lot of the times I was bedridden for days. The pain of having cysts on your ovaries, they hurt. Shaving my face alone was the worst part of it. I didn't have like shaving cream or like fancy razors. I literally was using makeup to cover up the blood every day. I didn't realize that I had other family members who were growing facial hair as well because they were like me, wanting to hide it. All right, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you?
Oh, I didn't say anything. Can you hear me now?
What do you think about me growing out my facial hair?
When you first started growing it out, I was kind of like surprised at your appearance, I guess. But now that just seems a part of you, and I think if you shaved it, I would be like, wait, what's happening, girl? I'm just proud of how, strong you are. And
okay, now call like Dad.
Maybe women don't feel like they have to hide or be ashamed.
Am I wrong?
I think that's one of the biggest things I like to tell people is it's literally 1 in 14 women, and most people know somebody who does grow facial hair.
Yeah, won't be a big deal in another generation.
Thank you, Mom.
All right, you're welcome.
It won't be a big deal in another generation.
I really love my beard. I can't lie. I feel like I would be naked without it. Elias has been very supportive with me growing out my facial hair.
I know
he was the first one to
let me know.
I will say
I know the feeling, man. I went like a week and a half ago and got mine trimmed all short, and the barber shaped it, and I love the way it looked when he was done. But I was like, oh my god, it's so short. It's so short.
Hey, if you're not enjoying this, you could not do it.
Watching someone you love suffer like that and cause themselves pain like every single day just to feel like they're allowed to leave the house or like they won't upset anybody is just painful. Honestly, I just feel really proud. It's hard to be authentic in today's world. About a year.
Hard to be authentic. Well, it depends on what you're calling authentic. Now, ultimately, what we're talking about here is the challenge of individuals to conform to society or express individuality with a, what do you call it? We're all lazy at something, right? Almost everyone. Granted, you have people like, who was that I was hearing? Was it Elon Musk or Tim Pool? There was somebody I was hearing like their whole life is just scheduled. Like from waking to going to bed, like everything is in a calendar and has a time limit set. I don't remember who the heck I was hearing that about. But anyway, so unless you're like that, which none of us are, I'm assuming those of you out there watching, you're not millionaires. I'm not a millionaire. We do have shortcuts. We do get a little lazy with something in life. And so the question here is, she realized she was spending more time worried about her facial hair than she was worried about other things that was important to her. I'm assuming. I'm reaching. I'm trying to make the best devil's advocate argument here. I'm steel manning how one goes and makes this decision. But then I'm also kind of rebutting it, saying, well, unfortunately, yes, some things are kind of important to kind of conform with a polite society. And this one, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah, she looks weird. She's going to be goofy. She's going to get the stares. But conforming to society's bullying of your appearance is assuming that it's not okay to just be ugly. It's okay to just be ugly. You're going to get the stares. But hey, it's life. It's sometimes you got to take a few punches, as good old Thomas Binger from the Rittenhouse trial said.
Year into our relationship, I came out. I had been around trans people for a long time, but had never considered that it was an option for me just because of how I grew up and stuff. That's really fair. Being in a relationship with Coral, like how accepting she is, allowed me to become more of myself. What judgment did we face when we first started our relationship? Some judgment about us being in a gay relationship, for sure. The most comments we usually get are at the grocery store. Yeah. We do.
So the other obvious counter to the previous argument I made is, well, you're already fat, right? That's already something you let go about your appearance. And so then it becomes kind of a slippery slope. Well, once you've let go of one thing, and then now you're saying you were judged for being gay, and you kind of let that go, it becomes easier to just deflect other people's opinions of you, and just kind of accept yourself for, the flawed person you are.
Who tend to stay inside more. People stare, people gasp, people whisper, mutter.
Yeah, they really like to point out my beard, ask what is that, which is why I've kind of stepped back from doing.
I just want to know why she doesn't dye it blue.
Grocery shopping. In the past, I got angry. Why get mad at someone for the way that they look? But watching her go through it and how she deals with things,
nobody's mad.
Amount
They're just
of
gross.
peace that over time she's built up has helped me let go of a lot of that anger.
I have a group of fellow bearded ladies that is on Facebook, and a lot of them do not even grow their hair out because they are still scared. People are very angry. I do get death threats, especially here in the United States with the trans debate that is happening right now. Bearded women get roped in with trans women a lot, which personally I am perfectly okay with, because I would rather be a avenue for my trans sisters to be able to accept themselves. I get a lot of comments though, like, what are you? This is disgusting. I should shave, that I need to grow a mustache. Oh my God, this is what the devil looks like.
Now wait a minute. You just said you want solidarity with your trans sisters, but then like the first question you're asked is, "What are you?" And you're laughing at that as if this is your ideology, not mine. As if people shouldn't be confused about identity in certain situations. Like that's something negative. Like you're laughing at it. Seems a little insensitive to your ideology, in my opinion.
People like to tell me that I'm demonic and tell me to find Jesus in the same sentence. I have had lives where I've had people reach out to me and tell me I had to get off of your live because it was too much. The comments hurt. And that sucks, because everything that I'm working towards is so that way other women don't have to feel like they need to hide. Today we are going to meet with our roommates to talk about how they feel about our relationship. I think it'll be interesting to ask them what they think about my beard, what they thought about me growing it out.
Look at the roommates.
What's up?
What was your concerns when I started growing out my beard?
I felt like you looked more like you than you ever had.
I feel that.
And my only concerns were really how other people were going to treat you, which is...
Man, how would you feel if you walked into your house and saw these 4 people sitting there?
Valid,
yeah. It's the truth. Like, people are mean.
After more than a year that you've been growing your beard, I was like, you're just you.
You did say that, like, you were like, it's the same person.
Yeah, I was like,
there's...
you look different. I think you like your hair's different. She's like, what? It's like, no, Maria. I'm like, no, I don't see nothing.
This is crazy.
Blueberry muffins. People that judge our relationship, I would tell them, just go be happy and live your own life, man.
Stop wasting your time.
Who's judging your
too
relationship?
short.
Oh my God. So here's the thing, right? So, okay, here we go. Here's the love, don't judge. Anyway, there's like 20 seconds
Be
left.
wasting your time thinking about me.
Honestly.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, okay, so here's the love, don't judge, right? For one, nobody's judging your relationship. We're judging your appearance, right? That's ultimately the bottom line here. Nobody's judging your actual relationship. They're judging your appearance. You said you your own words, right? You were criticized for being gay. Now, back then, people were judging you for your relationship. You've since grown out of that. You've since that's taken a back seat to being judged by your appearance, right? And so nobody's judging your relationship now, because now there's a bigger target, right? And so again, here's part of my issue with the Love Don't Judge program is you're telling us how strong you are while also telling us how vulnerable words on the internet have made you. Kind of makes me not believe that you're really as strong as you say you are, which is sad because, like I said, hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Be you. Be the best you can be, right? Outlast the haters, as we like to say here on Mild's Culture Plate. Outlast the haters. Be you. But then, when you come on talking about how hurtful your friends are by comments on the internet, how knowing that they hurt, that hurts you, doesn't sound very strong to me. Anyway, that's going to be the show for tonight. Once again, thank you to Sanglan86. Thank you to Bulldozer74. Thank you to anyone else out there. I do notice we've got a number of viewers. Anyone out there watching on YouTube, Rumble, or X, we are not live on Facebook. We're not live on Twitch, and we are not live on Locals because I am back to streaming through the StreamYard platform, and I've only got I've got the cheap plan that only lets you to stream to three different destinations, as opposed to the Rumble Studio, which was letting me stream to 6 different destinations, but also had a little bit more of a errors and complications. So, yep, gonna try giving them a little bit more time to perfect their craft. So, yeah, that's going to be our show for today. I will catch you Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 6 p.m. Central, right here on Rumble, X, and YouTube. That's this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern. Find me then. Come in the chat. Say hello. Get your toast. And like I said, I'll show your comments on the screen as much as possible. And we'll cover the viral videos and the news events that happen between here and now and then. Please, if you could take just a moment, click that like button. Click that like button. If you're new here, please follow the channel. Consider following me on my other platforms down in the description. And also, if you're new here, please watch a second video and share this off platform. It really helps with the algorithm when people share things to other places. It gets the attention of the algorithms that, hey, this is being shared elsewhere. People are looking at it and wanting other people to look at it. And then when you watch a second video, the algorithms say, hey, this person liked this content so much, they went and watched more of it. So please, if you're new here, try helping me out with those two things. Sangolin86 in the chat says, see yas. And yeah, I think that's where we are now. I'm going to go ahead and say, please take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Take care of your beard, especially if you're a lady. Outlast those haters. Don't get any on you. And if you do, rub that shit in real good. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Good night.